Hello there, Internet. This has been a note that's been on my wall of sticky notes of YouTube ideas for a long time. The reason it's taken me so long is because this is something serious that I deal with and that I never really felt comfortable, I guess, talking about. This is something I've never really talked about publicly online via YouTube or anything like that. But if you know me in person in real life, then you're bound to know about this. I suffer from panic and anxiety, and I would like it to change, so I'm talking about it. Let's go. I remember being around the age of 9 or 10 and playing with a friend on their little playground in the backyard of their house and thinking that someone was watching me. I don't remember if that was part of the game we were playing or if it's how I actually felt, but I remember it distinctly. Around the age of 13, I started to get this thing that I called the feeling. I didn't know what to call it anytime I was trying to talk to my mom about it, so that's what it was dubbed. The feeling always came around about 5 or 6 o'clock at night, and it was just scary. The best way I could describe it to my mom was that I was just scared, and I didn't know why. Anytime she asked, "Why are you scared? There's nothing to be scared about." I didn't know why. All I knew was that I was just really scared. That went on for a couple years until I was about 15-ish, I believe, when my mom was going to the doctor for some kind of checkup for her, and she mentioned it to her doctor, and she was like, "Yo, listen, Abby deals with this thing that she just gets really scared. She doesn't have any reason. She just gets scared. What's that about?" And the doctor was like, "It sounds like it's anxiety." So then I finally had a name for the way that I was feeling. Throughout the video, I will be referring to anxiety attacks and panic attacks as though they're the same thing, even though I am aware that they are not. When I'm having them, though, I don't really try to discern which is which, so I just refer to them normally as panic attacks. So that's how I will probably be referring to them in the video. When I was 19 was when I had my first full-blown attack. I had had little attacks before that, but I didn't realize that's what they were, and so this is what I count as my first one. I was part of the haunted house at my school. It was the third night out of 3 nights of the haunted house, and first night went fine. Second night, I was just very uneasy the entire night, and then the third night, I was having a little trouble breathing and I couldn't really think straight, and there was somebody helping that night that hadn't normally helped, and he was just really creepy and I didn't like it. I was also in the clown room, and I'm afraid of clowns. I was surrounded by white sheets hanging up all around the walls to create a maze or of some sort, and there were strobe lights going on and very loud circus music. All of these things combined was not fun. I couldn't breathe. I felt like everything was closing in on me. After a while, parts of my body started going numb, and I couldn't move my hands. They were stuck in this weird position where they wouldn't move. That made things worse because I didn't know what was going on, so I was just way more scared. Around the age of 20, this would have been my second year of college, my panic attacks picked up. I don't know if there was a specific reason or not as to why they were picking up, but they started becoming more regular, once or twice a week. I had to sit out of rehearsals, I've had to sit out of concerts, I've missed class because of them. And now I'm 21, and my attacks don't happen as regularly as they once used to, but I feel that in a more general sense, my anxiety has worsened. Is worsened a word? We're using it. I have always loved to drive, but I find cars and driving a lot more difficult than they were before. And I find riding in cars especially a lot more difficult than it was before. I've never liked riding with people. I've always been the one to be like, "I'll drive," but it's, I feel, gotten worse in the past year. Talking to people is really, really hard. If I don't know you, especially, it's hard for me to talk to you. Even if I do know you, though, yeah, going places alone is almost unfathomable to me. Every time I go into a store alone, for example, my heart is racing, things in my eyes, my vision starts to kind of get fuzzy and blacken and everything, and I either end up just leaving before I find what I need, or I'm in a rush and I don't really know what's going on. It's all kind of a blur. If you met me or saw me at NerdCon, actually, as beautiful and fun as NerdCon was, it was one of the most terrifying moments of my life. And I think it's actually one of the things that made my just general anxiety worse over the past year. When I look at my experiences at NerdCon, it can be taken in two different points of view, two directions. In one direction, it was an accomplishment and I had a lot of successes during the weekend that I was there. From another direction, the direction I tend to look at it, it was very bad. Fun fact, actually, after I registered for NerdCon, went in, went to my spot, registered, bounced back and forth a little bit because I was very confused and I didn't know what to do. I actually went to, if you were at NerdCon, you know what I'm talking about, those like tables in like the big common area or whatever by the registration stands. I went and sat at one and I called my mom and I was on the verge of tears, so it's a good thing that there weren't a lot of people there when I registered. And I remember saying to her, like, why am I doing this? Why did I think I could do this? I can't do this. And yeah, so that's where I'm at now. My attacks have lessened, but my anxiety kind of runs my life and it's not fun. I am pushing myself to test my limits and try new things, such as NerdCon. That was a limit pusher. I wanted to talk about this because it's something I struggle with on a day-to-day basis, and because we need to talk about it. This shouldn't be something that we're afraid to talk about. I have enough fear in my life. I don't need to be afraid to talk about something that goes on with me every day. Perhaps in the future I'll go more in depth on the different kind of anxieties and panic attacks I have, because I like to categorize things. So I have like this categorization of where I have like 3 different kinds of attacks and they all are different and they're all different like levels of oh my goodness and terror and stuff. So maybe I'll get into that sometime. We'll see. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I may or may not answer, depending on the question and the type of answer I would need to give. We'll see what happens, but please feel free to ask. Let me know if you have any of these problems, or if you have any ideas on how to deal with them, or things that have helped you, stuff like that. This will not be the last time I talk about this. Trust me, I want to talk about it more. I want to be more open with you guys and everyone, and I want to thank you for letting me be open with you guys and letting me talk about things like this. So now I'm gonna go and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! I have no fear, nor no one should. The woods are just trees, the trees are just wood. When you try to live your life by musicals and it doesn't work,